Hey everybody, and welcome to another RCT2 review. Last episode we looked at Volcania by Soap and Butter Sandwich, which was part of the DKMP timeline contest for last year. This time we're going to look at the winner of that contest. So this is the Wings and Things Fun Fair by Swagtitties. And it is a fantastic example of no custom scenery realism with a lot of fun, just interesting features built in. So this whole park kind of came about as a small park that got expanded into other areas kind of as it grew along. And I do encourage you to hit the link in the description where you can get the download for all the 12 sequences of the park, because it's actually really fun to watch this one get built, especially. There's just a lot of really cool stuff in it. So we start with this kind of front entrance, which very much reminds me of Knott's Berry Farm, sort of the chicken stall out front and things like that. I think I wouldn't be surprised if that's what it's based on. We got this great entry here, which used to be a road in kind of one of the previous iterations, with these great signs here. Welcome to the Fun Fair. Embrace your new adventure. And we have a nice little entrance building here, sort of almost Art Deco-y, I guess, as you jump into the overall park. Now, first thing we're going to come to is one of the older rides in the park. So this is Woodstock Express, and this is more or less a clone of the coasters of the same name in the Cedar Fair parks. And it's a really cute little coaster. Got a relatively small lift hill, but lots of, or at least a fair bit of decent layout to it. Little transfer track here on the side, which is quite nice. I have a couple of flat rides throughout here, and nice little seating area here. Lots of little no custom scenery type tricks in this one. We have the walkway for the miniature golf here used as a picnic table. Kind of clever. And then let's look at our log flume, which is also one of the earlier attractions in the park. Got a fair bit of theming on top of it, which is really cool. So using the volcano pieces, which we saw used in Soap's project as well, but very different use here. I love this curved tunnel on this side and just all the little details. So we've got our station down there, double lift up, another drop on this side, which is really kind of nicely done because this kind of viewing area on this side frames this really, really well. Queue for the railroad here as well. And then we have our lift up and over, and then this drop on the entirety other side. So really, when you're looking at the ride initially, you can't even see that there's a secondary drop, which is kind of fun. Makes for a nice little surprise. Over on this side, we have our three-sided shot tower, although we're only using the two sides of it there. We've got a nice back of house space here, as well as just kind of a whole area back here in general, which I think is nicely done. So we passed up the castle area here earlier, which this was one of the later additions to the park. But we have Joust here, which is a Vekoma shuttle, little junior shuttle coaster. We have our backwards lift here across underneath the station, and then this kind of little double up here with the reverse spike through that castle tower, which is kind of fun there at the front. And then, of course, you can't miss these two castle towers here with the diagonal arch. Very nice way of doing entry process into that space. Couple little track rides over here. We've got the a little car ride over here, which is relocated from another area, if I recall. And then we also have this kind of horse ride with, I love this little kind of walkway here over top of the water, our ride track piece. And then we have our character here, this is the king. A couple more flat rides as well, and then another kids coaster over on this side. So this is the Crestline Cruisers. A little oval track, but doing all the things you would expect out of a kids coaster. All right, well, let's continue over this way because I think we'll kind of circle around more or less in the way that the park was built. We get into this western area with some fantastic facades right here. With your Mecca's Cantina, the bank, the saloon. Love the bridge here across and just the interaction with the rides for the train here. So we have the train coming through over the bridge and then also through the log flume space in here, and then it's going to come out the other direction as well. Kind of nice little short train. It doesn't have to circle the whole park, but I think it just covers this whole western area very nicely. What's fun about this, as far as we go, let's look at the first bits here. We've got the wild mouse here, so very nice spinning wild mouse. This is a revolver. And then over here we've also got a scream and swing called Whiplash. But some incredible theming through here. But if we spin around the back, the train has its own show scenes. So we've got this great livery, another bank, general store, jail, and then the characters back here, the train robbers, and the noose on the side. So we have kind of a show scene here in the middle, which is just fantastic for the train to come by and see. And then also the train gets to go into the dark ride space, because this whole building houses a nice big dark ride, as well as some scenery or some shops and stalls here. But this is Rowdy Red's Bank Heist. So not only do we get a little sneak peek of what's going on, including details like the roof truss structure, which is fun, but we also get to have the train run through it. So the train not only becomes part of the show, but also is a great scenic piece here for the ride itself. Love the details out back, little propane tank, some of the different barrels and things, scissor lift right on this side. Just lots of really kind of nice, clever ideas. This is a cool entry for Revolver using the mine train track. All right, so as we continue along, we kind of transition over into a little more Mediterranean, well, actually I shouldn't say Mediterranean, more kind of mission style California, Mexico scenery. Although back here we have Swing Topper, which is a future edition. Swing Topper being this one, so we didn't get to rename, but I guess we've got a new B&M here coming, perhaps. And lots of great architecture throughout. Love this with the really kind of nice set piece on the front side here. Queue up and in and out the other side as well. And all of this circling our big inverted coaster here, which we'll pick up going through the 0G roll here. It's actually Batman's layout, just with a little bit more of a stretch to it. So we are putting the 0G roll kind of at 90 degrees. And then the rest of it is more or less like you would expect for the Batman the Ride layout to be. So I kind of like that idea as far as a stock coaster, more or less, but just some little changes being made just so that we can see that it's custom, but it's still kind of based on something that we have already seen. This queue is super cool, going through here, going around this courtyard, and then up the stairs around the tower, and then across. Just really nice detailing on that whole structure. I do love this sculpt here. That's very cool. So this is Villain, so here's our big V as you come around. So not necessarily a dead end, because you can come out on this side too, so it wraps around very nicely. Then we get over to our Greek-Roman sort of look here. So this is Icarus. This is a launched Intamin coaster. It's got a top hat and a dive loop here, a little fast airtime hill, and then one roll. So very nicely put together as far as layout goes. But then there's a lot of other details here. We've got the launch track here with the double supports. We've got a walkway on it. I love this tunnel. The whole thing just done very, very well in the overall layout. That outer bank is cool. And big shout out for these supports. Once again, the single rail coaster proves to be the MVP of NCSO supports. So very, very nicely done there. And then just the overall look here of this entrance. Love the colonnade that you come through, sort of this plaza. And then the actual entrance here with this kind of grand space as well. This is a super cool fountain on the diagonal, or not the diagonal, but on the curve. Using the curve rapids piece and then the curve log flume piece is great, because there's really, no embellishments to this. It's literally just a log flume corner, but it looks legit when you put the rapids piece with it, add a fountain to it, and just some other detailing. So done very, very well. The mazes, hedge maze here really helps also. Have our very nice scenery that works its way through until we get to this other side, where we get to more of our jungle theme. And this has a pretty huge rapids ride. centered around this volcano or mountain of some kind. So this is called the Peak. Well, or this area is called the Peak, and we've got our ride here. So this is the Tokaraku River Rush. Fun name. Great station. Love the details here with the mini golf, and then just all of the super nice details here. So we got the bumpers up here, we got the waterfalls, and it looks artificial enough, but still realistic. Kind of work our way around. The interaction here with the pathway is great. So we have the drop here underneath of the queue for the peak, which is the wooden coaster here. So this side of the volcano is the wooden coaster entrance. This side is the rapids entrance. But you've got that interaction. You've got the exit here. We've got a little lift and drop here that's covered. Some pipes, a little bit of scenery here in the middle, crossing under this diagonal bridge, crossing under this kind of larger thing. It actually goes underneath the gift shop, which is pretty fun. Like up into the gift shop itself. And then also cool queue theming here with the whirlpool, and then also just kind of the way that this crosses itself on the way in. So very, very nicely put together. Let's pick up that wooden coaster here, but first take a peek at this diagonal bridge, which is just fantastic here with the structure and everything. Very nicely done. The coaster itself here is called the Peak, sort of maybe a little bit of GCI-esque in there. All the nice little details with it. I like this outer banked corner, kind of sweeping little dive here, and then the climb, a couple airtime hills, and then a couple of a little back and forth. But we have our custom footers in here. We've got the side-by-side track work, which is what I always stress when we do these sorts of things. That's a great element there. And some custom supports throughout. So lots of good stuff through the whole thing. And then here is a haunted house. So this is called Haunted Manor. You've seen our Destiny of Kafu arc, you might recognize some of these structures here. So some fun stuff there. Love the overgrowth throughout. Love the conservatory in the whole thing. And just all the nice little details through that whole space. And then lots of those good back-of-house stuff as well. And then kind of our last ride component here is the Speedway 500 go-kart track. And I like that there's a darker pavement to it, so it kind of sets it off from the rest of it. Very sort of Art Deco-y type streamlined roof for this. The sign is super cool. Love this. For the Burger Cave restaurant. But all the signs are just real fun, real clever, good little ideas here and there. And what's great, beyond the inside here is we also have some other spaces. So outside we've got a little restaurant here. Over here we've got our shopping mall here, which has some different folks here from the DKMP server. And then all sorts of just other little details here along the outside. And it was kind of fun, I've said earlier here with this timeline park being the 12-part thing, to see how this has grown. Because this whole side of the park was originally warehouse buildings, and there was a big shopping mall here. There was all sorts of just nice little details that have since become part of the park. So the park would take it over, would demolish it, and then expand into those locations. So really fun to see how the park grows over time. But I'm constantly impressed by the amount of detail that we can get with no custom scenery, and just the really just very nice small details. I think that was one of the things that always, for me, kind of held back no custom scenery, was that some of the finer points of details, the quarter tile, the eighth tile stuff that you can do in with custom stuff, you can't necessarily do here, or the diagonals and things like that. But we're there now, so we can do these curves, we can do the diagonals, we can really get a lot of these things looking so nice and so clean through the whole space, that it's really just a fantastic kind of showcase of what this can do. And I think this was a well-deserved winner for the Timeline Park contest. Like I said, there's a link below for the download, not just for the park here, but also for the 12-part detail as well, if you'd like to see all of it. Really highly encourage you to check it out because it's super cool. We kind of glossed over a lot of the details here, especially some of the nicer architecture. So absolutely worth your time to step back and check it out. So would encourage you to do so. But hopefully you enjoyed the walkthrough and will enjoy the park yourself here a little later on. But thank you very much for watching, as always, and we will catch you in the next one. Bye now.